What's up, YouTube? This is Rob, back with another video. I have the LG G6 here, and I'm going to do something like my first 48 hours with this phone. And I want to give you 5 things I like about this phone and 5 things that I don't like about this phone. Starting off, this is a nice phone. I love the way the screen to phone ratio is with this phone. Very unique, very small phone with a large screen. The body of this phone is nice. The camera is just, I think it's 13 megapixel. Both of them are 13 megapixel. Wide is top of the line. A very responsive fingerprint sensor. Probably going to be one of the best cameras in 2017. The bezel-less look that this phone has, very small bezels on the sides and at the top, very small chin and forehead, makes this a real nice fitted phone for small hands and people who have big hands such as myself. The phone seems to be it seems to fit just right. It doesn't. I don't think it matters if you have big hands or small hands. You should be able to maneuver this phone around and get what you need done with this phone. LG doesn't try to give you knock you out with any special features or go out of its way to wow you. It's just pretty much making a solid phone for a decent price, $650 at T-Mobile. One of the things that I like about the phone, number one, you have an option to change your scaling rate on your phone. Just go into display, look for app scaling, and you can pretty much go into these different apps. I'm going to pick this video game out. Right now it's in standard 16.7:9 ratio, which is what your phone is. Standard phones is now. This phone, everybody knows, is built 18:9 ratio, which is pretty much 2:1. If you're in a simpler math term, you can hit this button, hit OK, and the game should be scaled from screen end to end now with that new option that I just created for this game. Let me go in that game and see how it looks. I haven't played this game yet, so hopefully it's scaled correctly. See how fast it loads up. And as you can see, end to end with the new scaling ratio of changing that app. If I would have left it in the 16:9 ratio setup, you'll have a black bar running down each side. So that's a pretty cool thing where right now you can rescale your apps to fit the entire large screen of this phone. Let's see if I can back out of this. Go back into. All right, so that's number one. Number two is I'm kind of combining 2 things: waterproofing and quick charge. That's a welcome feature. I think I'd rather have that over a DAC for headphones, because mostly I listen to Bluetooth headphones anyway. So the DAC on the V20 never really benefit me in any kind of way. It was a nice feature to have, but I would have much prefer to have a phone that's waterproof and quick charge. Another thing that I like about this phone is, like I said, the large screen. That's a plus for a small phone like this. This phone screen in its size is bigger than the iPhone 7 Plus screen at 5.5. This 5.7 inch screen is nice with this small phone. Another thing that I like about it, number 4 on my list of top 5 things that I like the fact, see here if I can hit the settings. I like the lock screen shortcuts. You can put in lock screen shortcuts on your phone. Let me cut this phone off. And on the bottom, you can see the options. Hit that. Boom, go right into the app. Pretty nice deal. I like that. So, lock screen shortcuts is my number 4 thing that I like about the LG G6. Number 5 is smart settings. The smart settings is one of my favorite things with LG phones. Where you find it? Under the settings section, you go into smart settings. Right here, you can set your home. What I do was I get my home location locked in. I have 2 options set up for at-home smart settings. Number 1 is that it'll turn the Wi-Fi on automatically without me having to reach up and pull down this notification screen. And to turn the Wi-Fi on, it knows to turn it on when it's at home and turn it off when I'm away. You can also have it set up, have your favorite app come on when the earphones is plugged in, or when your favorite Bluetooth device is connected. You can also pick the app to auto open also. So that's the 5th thing that I like about the LG G6 is the smart settings section. Now I'm going to give you 5 things that I don't like about the LG G6. First up, 32 gigabytes of storage. In my opinion, I don't know about any of you guys, I use a lot of apps. 32 gigabytes is just barely cutting it. It's barely cutting it. And if you start off having a lot of apps up front and you plan on having this phone for the next 2 years, you can fill this internal storage up pretty quick. And due to the fact that this phone has no adaptable storage, that 32 gigabytes can pretty much get eaten away pretty quickly. Next, number 2 is that the LG has a heavy skin. Their UI is very heavy on this phone. When I first got the phone, turned it on, before I loaded my apps on board, the system data takes up 9.96 gigabytes of the internal storage off the top. So before you even put your first app on there, you have just a tad bit over 21 gigabytes available of internal storage. This is before the SD card is put in. This is before you download any app. 9.9, literally 10 gigabytes is eaten up already from the internal storage. So actually you're buying a phone with a net 21 gigabytes of storage. That's a heavy skin. And really there's a lot of, I think the OnePlus 3T might only use 5 gigabytes, a little under 5.5 gigabytes of system data for their skin. And this is double that. So that's a lot. Number 3 on my list is that the phone came with 7.0. Now 7.0 is a good thing, but it really should have had 7.1.1 or 7.1.12. There's no excuse for this phone to have 7.0 when there's other iterations of Nougat out there. It's kind of shameful because the LG V20 has 7.0 way back in October. And you mean to tell me between the introduction of the LG V20 and the introduction of this phone that you could not at least have Android 7.1.2 on this phone? So that's another knock against this phone. Also another knock, number 4, Gorilla Glass 3 on the front. That's 3 3 to 2 year old technology and glass on the front of a supposed flagship phone. That's pretty bad to have Gorilla Glass 3. You would think at least do 5. 4, you might be able to get away with it. I think the back of it has Gorilla Glass 5. I'm not sure. I gotta. If anybody know, could you please leave that information down in the comment section? But I think the back has a different form of Gorilla Glass. I think it's Gorilla Glass 5. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but if you can, just help me with that information. Just leave it down there if you know. Another thing that I think they could have done is iPhone was able to put another speaker in its earpiece along with the bottom speaker. And I think a lot of phone companies can do that too. So I wish they would have took the time to at least try to get a speaker up in there where you can have some kind of stereo sound. You're able to get that with the Mate 9, which is a phone that's $150 cheaper than this phone. You're able to have dual speakers with a bottom firing and one out of the earpiece. You get it with the iPhone 7, which is a phone that costs $100 more. But at the same time, you would think trying to accommodate another speaker up there is not a very hard task. It's not a very big request. But it's something I think that could have been done. But the bottom firing speaker is a nice one. It's better than the V20. But it would have been nice to have some kind of stereo sound in that. But overall, that's it. Overall, like I said, this is a nice phone. There is a few knocks against the phone that kind of throws me off a little bit. My main knock is the 32 gigabytes of storage. I wish wish the American version had a 64 gigabyte option, and also the software. But overall, it's a solid phone. Like I said, you get the waterproofing, the quick charge. You got some nice things in there that make this a solid phone. But like I said, it's not a home run. If you want to use baseball terminology, this is more like a batter hitting a double, maybe a triple. But this is not a home run phone. Anyhow, guys, that's my first 48 hours and 5 things I like and dislike about the LG G6. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Holla at you. Peace.